Today, we're digging into the 2019 Fishmongers Hall attack. Now, this is an event you probably think you know, right? But I'm telling you, the full story is way more complex and, frankly, more incredible than any of the headlines ever suggested.
And let's just start with this quote. It's from a former judge who was there that day, and it gets right to the heart of what makes this story so powerful. It's all about who the heroes really were.
So, to really get what happened, we've got to go back to November 29th, 2019. There was this pretty unique gathering happening right in the middle of London.
Now, this wasn't just some random event. It was for a prison reform program called Learning Together. And you had everyone in the room, academics, judges, senior police, and the very ex-offenders they were there to support. Everyone brought together to celebrate rehabilitation. And the attacker, Usman Khan, he was one of them. He was an attendee.
And then everything just exploded. The attack was shockingly fast. I mean, we're talking about just 5 minutes. At 1:58 p.m., it began, and in that tiny window of time, a celebration of reform turned into a scene of absolute terror. But, and this is the key part, it also became a scene of incredible and seriously unexpected bravery.
So, you know how it is. In the chaos right after an event like this, the media is scrambling for a hero, for a simple story to tell. And a really powerful narrative took hold, fast.
This was it. This was the story that went absolutely viral. A Polish chef, a narwhal tusk, and a terrorist. It's an amazing image, right? One man, one incredible weapon, one clear hero. It was simple, it was memorable, but it wasn't the whole story. Honestly, it wasn't even close.
So what did really happen in there? Well, this is where things get so much more interesting. Because once the initial shock started to fade and more people started talking, a much more complicated and, frankly, a much more amazing picture started to emerge. Because the truth wasn't about a lone wolf hero at all. No, it was about a collective act of courage from the most unexpected group of people you could possibly imagine being in that room. And this just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the simple story that took over the world, and on the other, the reality. It wasn't one guy. It was a team effort. And the weapons weren't just tusks. They were using anything they could grab, a fire extinguisher, even a lectern.
So let's talk about these people, the ones who didn't run away, but ran towards the danger. They were a pretty incredible cross-section of the event itself, and they completely challenge our ideas of who steps up in a crisis.
I mean, just look at this list. Seriously, look at the names. John Crilly, ex-offender. Mark Conway, ex-offender. James Ford, a prisoner on day release. Steve Gallant, ex-offender. The very people this program was created to help were the ones who ran directly into the fire to protect everyone else.
You had Darren Frost, a guy who worked for the Ministry of Justice, who literally ripped a 5-foot narwhal tusk off the wall. And you can just feel it in his words, can't you? That moment where grabbing this bizarre improvised weapon actually helped turn the tide inside the hall. And at the same time, you've got John Crilly, another ex-offender, grabbing a fire extinguisher and just blasting the attacker in the face with it, totally blinding him. And get this, believing the suicide vest was real, he was screaming at Khan to blow it. Just an unbelievable act of defiance, calling his bluff when he thought death was certain.
But even after we learned who the real heroes were, the story left behind all these nagging, troubling questions that make the whole thing even more complicated.
First, his victims, Jack Merritt and Saskia Jones. They were the Cambridge graduates who coordinated the program. They were working directly with Khan, trying to help him. So why them? Why attack the very people who were on his side? It's a question that just hangs in the air.
And then there's this, what Khan himself reportedly said during the fight. I am not here for you, I am here for the police. That is just fascinating and pretty chilling. It suggests this wasn't some random rampage. It sounds like he wanted a confrontation with law enforcement. He wasn't trying to get away. He was waiting for them.
And think about this for a second. Khan had been sitting in a room all morning with judges, senior police officers, all kinds of high-profile people. If his goal was just maximum damage to the justice system, why not target them? And why wear a fake bomb? None of the logic quite tracks, does it?
And finally, and this is a big one, the story we all heard was shaped by who got to tell it. James Ford, the prisoner on day release who performed CPR and chased Khan, was apparently moved to a secure prison right after. That move basically silenced him, cutting a key hero right out of the public narrative while it was still being written.
So when you put all this stuff together,
It really forces you to ask a bigger question. What does this event really tell us about what heroism even is?
You see, the first story we all heard was simple. It was clean. It was almost like a movie. But the true story? Oh, it's complex. It's messy. It's not clean at all. And it's so much more profoundly human because of it. It's a story about instinct and raw courage, not from one person, but from many, acting together.
So what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, that heroism is often a team sport, not a solo performance. Second, that the first headline is almost never the full story. But maybe the most important lesson is that real courage can come from the places we least expect. The very people that society had pretty much written off turned out to be the ones who showed all of us what it really means to step up.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on, right? It makes you wonder. Maybe we need to completely rethink not only who we call heroes, but where we even bother to look for them in the first place.